Hello everyone, this is Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team. I thought today I might give you a little bit of an inside look into how I managed to run the different paint schemes that I show and that Jake shows on his cars, and even when Joe gets some video time here, we'll see some custom paint schemes on Joe's cars. And so I thought if you're interested in iRacing, you might be interested in how the custom paint schemes work, because there is no option to build some of these custom paint schemes inside iRacing itself. If you were to go to the iRacing paint booth, which you have to go to through the iRacing UI, and we can show that here. It takes a few minutes for that to load. But if you were to take a look at what we see with the iRacing UI with respect to paint schemes, what you're going to find is that the only options here are sort of pre-made paint schemes for your car. You can certainly change your helmet colors and do things like that, but if you want to do a paint job, just a standard iRacing paint job, you go to My Content. That's going to show all your cars. Then you click on Paint Shop. That's going to show all your cars inside the paint shop, and then you're going to select the one that you want to pick. Now I'm going to pick, I don't know, I'll pick the Legends 34 Ford. It's one of my favorite cars to race. This car is set up right now to accommodate the Sinclair themed custom paint scheme that I've created for it. So on the left side here are all the different paint patterns that you can show, right? I've chosen a pattern that's mostly white and green with orange numbers. We could certainly change that, and what that does is it changes the way your car looks if you're not running a custom paint scheme. So if you're not running a custom scheme, or if another driver can't see your custom scheme, this is what that driver is going to see. We could pick one that's got a little more orange. We could pick one that's got an oval shape. We could pick one that's got green on the top. I'm going to go ahead and stay with this one, which is white green with sort of red-orange accents. All right, so that's what we would do if we wanted to change the paint scheme inside iRacing and just run an iRacing scheme. But if you've been watching any of our videos, one of the things that you'll know is that many times what you see on the racetrack is a custom car. You see the A&W Root Beer car, the Moon Ice Speed Equipment car, the New Holland Equipment car, the Ramey Johnson Memorial 00. You see a lot of custom schemes. Now, if you get into iRacing and you want to be able to have a custom paint scheme, you've got to join a different website. That website is called Trading Paints. We're just going to go ahead and pull it up here. I'm already logged in, so this is going to come up to the dashboard, but we're going to start out here by just looking at, if you have a Trading Paints account, you can go into the showroom and you can look for a paint to race. To do that, you click on Showroom. Then you pull down the vehicle that you want to look at. We're going to go ahead and stick with the Legends 34 Ford Coupe. And what that's going to show is all the different paint jobs that are available for Legends 34 Ford Coupe. As you can see, it's election season. We've got a Trump-Pence car here, and we've got a Biden-Harris car there. And what you want to be able to do is you want to pick a car that will appeal to your sensibilities. Each of these cars was created by someone else, someone on the Trading Paints website, and they represent the effort of a lot of drivers. The Oreo car is actually very well done. It's been on the screen now for a couple of years. Okay, so you can kind of scroll through and see whatever it is that you might want to race. Now, if you have a Trading Paints account and it's a basic account, you're not going to be able to run every paint job out there. Some of the paint jobs are available for pro use only. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the Trump-Pence Legends 34 Ford Coupe. Right. This one is one that you could choose to run, of course. It's shown with car number 59. But if you wanted to race it, you would just click on Race This Paint. Right? And once you clicked on Race That Paint, then when you showed up racing on iRacing, your car would show up as the Trump-Pence car. It may or may not have number 59. It depends on whether or not you choose to let the sim select your number, or whether or not you choose to omit the graphics. Okay, now we could go to the trending cars. And that's what we've got up here, and we can see kind of what we've got available. Now, if you were looking for a specific car from a specific painter, you could come in, and you could go up here where it says From Everyone, and then if you'd followed someone, you would click on From People You Follow. If you're not sure and you're looking for a particular painter, you might type in their last name and see what comes up. Okay. In this case, what's come up? Well, it's Jimmy Johnson, Blue Lives Matter by Peyton Johnson, and then here's some cars that I've made, cars by Aaron Johnson, right? So if we wanted to run one of my cars, we could click on the Speed Equipment known number, And then if you decided that you wanted to erase that paint, you would just click on the Erase This Paint button. Okay. But what if you want to make your own paints? What do you do if you want to make your own paint scheme for your own car? Well, that's a little different. So to do that, you come to something called Paint Builder. Here's the deal. You have to have a premium account. So you can't make your own paints unless you pay for a premium account. A premium account's about 20 bucks a year. If this is the kind of thing you enjoy doing, then you can absolutely pay for that account and build your own paints. Now, I don't really have anything that's ongoing. Most of my paints have been completed, but I'll pick out this Milwaukee Tools Legends paint to kind of show you what we're working on here. So this particular paint, as you'll see, the edges look kind of cut and pasted here. That's because I made copies of these, imported them into Photoshop, recolored them, and then exported them back into the frame. So this is a truly 100% custom paint. But what if you didn't want to do that? What if you wanted to build your own? Well, you click New Paint, select a vehicle, again the Legends 34 Ford, hit Continue, the new paint comes up. It's pretty intuitive interface, right? If you want to change the base paint color, you change it right here. I generally try to scroll down. You can certainly use a slider to change the color, but once you've picked the color that you think you want, you have to make sure and select it. If you don't, your car doesn't change color. So it's not good enough just to come down here, slide to the color that you think you might want, say it's this kind of pale pink, and then go back out. Nothing happens. You have to actually select the color itself. So you're going to select that color. Now we've got a pale pink race car. Okay. We can do some other things here, right? So this is sort of what I think of as your background paint. But on top of that, you can put in a base layer. Now, certainly there are some prefab base layer paints, or you can pick a base layer paint that's made of a certain shape. Okay. Now, when you do that and you select the base paint, the areas that are dark on these base paint colors are going to remain the color that you chose for base paint. Okay. So what you've done here is you've selected a pattern, and the base pattern is going to be the same color as what you've collected. So we're going to pick the one here that's got some flames on it. And now our flames are going to be pink, and our car body is going to be red. Well, how in the world do we change the red? Well, let's go ahead and delete this extra one that I've picked here. How do we change what's going to be red? Well, we can go here to base pattern. We can right click on it to edit it, and you'll see that it's shown as red. Well, what if I don't want it to be red? What if I want it to be, I don't know, lavender? We're going to pick some kind of almost a hot lavender color. We're going to go ahead and select that, hit update, and now everything that used to be red is going to go to being lavender. Okay, so now I've got this strange lavender car with its weird pale pink flesh tone flames. And what if I want to do something else? Well, I could pick another base paint. I can certainly overlap them. And this time I think I'm going to pick a paint that focuses on the back half of the car here. So let's pick I'm having a hard time. Let's pick this one. Okay, so now that I've picked that, I've got red flames in the front, I've got pink flames on the side. But if I flip these over, if I switch their positions, right, so I can layer these base paint patterns. Now I really don't like that. I think that's terribly ugly. So I'm going to go ahead and delete both of these base patterns because I just don't like them. Okay. So now we're back to the plain old pink. Certainly we don't have to use a base pattern if we don't want to. We can pick a slightly different pattern. Let's say we're going to pick this one here. Now we've got pink and red. I don't really like the pink and red, so I'm going to change the pink to a deep purple. I'm going to go ahead and hit select. Well, that's a black. That's really not what I wanted. A deep purple. I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And then I'm going to change the base pattern red. We're going to edit it. And I think instead of this bright red, we're going to go with a sort of a deeper gold. Hit select and update. And now we basically have the Minnesota Vikings purple and gold car. Okay. So we have lots of options here that we can use to change these base patterns around. Other than that, though, you have some other options. I never leave the Trading Paint sticker on there. I always delete those. I'd rather put my own decals on a race car. And unless I'm running in an officially sanctioned Legends event, I'm also going to do away with the Legends decal layer, which is up here. And if you have a hard time doing away with it, then you can change it to the same color as the car. So it used to be that Trading Paints would let you delete it. Now they make you keep it. So I just go to Save Colors, and I'll pick the color that I've been running here. And then that's going to make these guys disappear. The downside to that is you pretty much have to make sure that the side of your car is all one color. If you don't do that, then you pretty much have to run this set of decals. There are other things you can do, though. You can certainly upload your own designs. And I've done that in the past by creating a design or creating a part of the car that's a specific color. I go to Upload. I'll go to my iRacing files here. I'll go to Legends Car Graphics. Here you can see some graphics that I've made. And if I wanted to make just the horse collar grille of my car orange, I'm going to upload that horse collar grille. I'm going to resize it until it matches this horse collar grille. And then I'm just going to cover up the horse collar grille. Still just a little big. So once that's done, now if I were to run this car, it would be purple and yellow with this weird orange grille, right? So I've got the opportunity to do that with any car part. I can take a snip of it using the snipping tool. I can import it into Paint or into 3D Paint or into Photoshop if you have it. You can do anything you want with that car part, save it, and then import it back into Trading Paints, where it will show up as, for lack of a better word, it's basically it's a decal. And so you've taken a colored orange decal and put over the front. You can also upload designs and decals. For example, I've got a whole file of nothing but racing decals that I use when I work on iRacing paint schemes. And so I can go here to Racing Decals, and if I'm wanting to put a, I don't know, let's say I want to put a hooker headers decal on my car. Well, I just hit Open. It's going to upload it. There's the hooker headers decal. And maybe what I want to do is I want to make that the primary sponsor on the back of the car. Well, I can rotate that 90 degrees. I can bring it in here, and then I can decide exactly where I want to put the hooker header decal. If you're not sure where it fits on the car, you can open up the wireframe. That tells you what the contours of the car look like, where everything bends. Right here is the edge of the hood where the hood bends over the side. So this is actually a piece that's vertical, and this is the bend. Right, so what it does is it shows you the contour of the car. If I don't like hooker headers up high, I might move it down low, but if I move it down too low, then the edge of the heart goes underneath the rolled end of the back panel. So as you make paint schemes, you're going to have to, it's going to hit and miss. You're going to have some issues, but you can do all kinds of things. And so I've got a full file complete of nothing but racing decals. If you're a painter and you're interested in having some of these decals, if you see something that you really want, just send me a message here on Trading Paints, and I'm happy to share all the decal files with you. Okay, so you can upload decals, upload designs, upload masks of different paints. If you don't have a decal, what do? Well, you can try to make one yourself. I've made several. Typically that takes either Photoshop or the 3D version of Paint, where you can do a magic select and you can actually pull a design off a background. And that's something that you can do. But ultimately what you're going to do is, once you've completed your design and you're ready to race it, you've got to come up here and you've got to click on Download TGA. The TGA is the file that Trading Paints uses to build the model of your car. You're going to click the Download button. It's going to show up down here. And the download is going to actually show up in your Downloads file. If you're not sure where to find that, click the File button down at the bottom, come over here to Downloads, open up Downloads, and everything that you download will show up here. So just recently I updated the Larry Phillips Speedway, Fairground Speedway tribute, and I also completed the Steve Sims tribute. And so those two cars I completed and have updated. So I downloaded those. And then when it came time to change paint schemes, I was able to change paint schemes. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this. I mean, I don't really want to save it. It's just a practice car. So what do you do if you want to run a paint scheme? You go to What I'm Racing, and you select the car that you want to upload a paint scheme for. This time, again, we'll stick with the Legends 34 Ford Coupe, although the process is the same if you're racing street stocks or if you're racing the Porsche 911, right? Doesn't matter. The process is the same. Now, you have two options here. One is a sim stamp number. These are car paints that don't have any numbers on them, and that allows for the simulator, the iRacing simulator, to give your car a number. And you'll notice, you will have noticed if you've been following us, that's pretty common. Cars are numbered 1 through 18 or 1 through 12 or 1 through however many have entered. 1 is the driver with the highest I rating, and the last car on the list is the driver with the lowest I ratings, and the numbers are assigned in order of I rating from highest to lowest, with 1 being highest and the last number being the lowest I rating. But if you've chosen to run a custom number, you have to go change a setting in the iRacing simulator so that your custom number shows. So if you wanted to run a SimStamp number paint, you'd click here. You would click on Choose Paint. You would click Choose New Paint. And you could either find a paint. You can go to the showroom and go looking. You could pick Trump Pence or the Iron Maiden Legends Coupe or the Miller High Life car or the number 96 or any number of things, the Bush car here or My Pretty Pony, or there are an infinite number of paints, right? Once you selected one, you would pick that paint, click the Erase This Paint button, and upload it, okay? If you're going to do a custom number paint, you do the same thing, right? You click Choose Paint, click Choose New Paint. You could find a paint. All of these cars then would have a custom number. And so if you chose to run this car number 18, you would click on the car number 18. You would click Erase This Paint and follow the instructions. But if you already have your own paint, if you've already downloaded a paint and you want to be able to upload it to run it just for yourself, and what I'm showing here is the Sinclair paint. This is a paint that I made about a month and a half ago. If you wanted to change that to some other paint you've made, you go to Choose Paint, you go to Choose New Paint, you go to Upload a Paint. And if you wanted to upload the paint that you had downloaded, you'd go look in your download file. First thing you need to know is, what number am I running? Well, we're going to go ahead and run another 00 paint here. I'm going to show you how this uploads. And if we had downloaded it, we'd go to Downloads. And we would pick whichever one we downloaded. Now, I haven't been working on Legends Coupe paints lately, but you can see there have been several paint schemes downloaded here. Here's a Larry Phillips paint. Here's a Filigreed Legends car paint. Here's the Maui Brewing Company paint. So I've worked on a number of those. Here's the Sinclair car. But I tend to save all my paints in a special folder under iRacing. So I'm going to go to iRacing Files. I have them saved as TGA files. Have them saved under the Legends cars. And then these are the ones that are going to run the custom number. Most of them are 00s. And I think I'm going to pick, I'll go ahead and upload the Cadbury car for now. Hit the Open button, and then once you've done that, Trading Paints does the rest. So Trading Paints will upload this particular paint scheme onto their server, and then the next time you log into iRacing to go racing, this paint scheme is going to show up as the scheme on your iRacing Legends car. Now, you'll notice here that I've been talking for 10 or 15 seconds. It's only a 4 megabyte file, and it's still uploading. There are two reasons for that. One is that I'm on rural Colorado internet, and rural Colorado internet kind of sucks. So our upload speeds tend to be 1 megabit per second, or 1 megabit per second or less. Second is that Trading Paints, I think gets a lot of use, and so I think their upload speeds tend to be a little slower just because of the sheer amount of data that's being pulled in and out of the Trading Paints server. Once it's uploaded, then once you click the Got It button, you'll see the new paint scheme. This is the Cadbury milk chocolate paint scheme that I created. It's to be run in the Legends series. This is one of those masks that I told you about. These are decals, custom decals that I made myself here. Same with the Cadbury's Dairy Milk Chocolate logo on the rumble seat. So that's kind of how this works. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to the Sinclair paint, mostly because this is Sinclair week. As I said, I like to run a lot of different paints. I'm going to run the Sinclair paint scheme for the rest of this week until Monday. What's today? Today is Thursday the 1st. So Monday the 5th, and then the evening of Monday the 5th, I will change to another paint scheme. Right. So there's one other thing that's got to be going on when you're racing an iRacing for your custom paint scheme to show. And this is the thing that I think causes the most consternation, the most trouble for iRacing drivers, is that trading paints basically it has a loading program that has to be running. Because if the trading paints load program, the visualizer program, isn't running, you're going to get on to iRacing, you're going to get in your car, you're going to drive a few laps, you're going to get out, and you're going to want to watch to see, was the car loose, was it tight, was I getting in the corner right, and you're not going to see your custom paint scheme. Okay, it's called TP Updater, and you have to make sure that TP Updater is running. If you're not sure, you can always go here. Once you install Trading Paints, you're going to want to install the Trading Paints Updater, and then it's going to show up over here, and you're going to click it to run it, right? You go ahead and click it, it's going to start it up. Once TP Updater is started, you can minimize it, and it'll continue to run in the background. So once that happens, then you go back to iRacing, and you decide you want to see what this paint scheme looks like. I'm just going to go to test the car on the track. We're going to have the 34 Ford Coupe. We're going to be at USA International. We're going to go ahead and do it in the morning, and we're going to hit the test button. Trading Paints allows you to take a look at a paint scheme while you're building it. You can do a sim preview, but you've got to have the simulation running at the same time. And one of the things that I found is that that's a really buggy program. And it ends up crashing a lot when you try to preview it. You're almost better off to just download the TGAs as you go and then open up a test session, because test sessions happen offline, so they don't eat up your internet bandwidth, especially if you're in an area like we are where the internet can sometimes be dicey. So once the simulation loads and you get through tech for your test session, then you're going to be able to see if the paint scheme uploading was successful and what that paint scheme is going to look like when you run it out on the racetrack. So while we wait for this to load, then I think the other thing to think about is that not everyone else sees your car the way you see it. Only the people who also have trading paints on their system will see your car the way you see it. Otherwise, they're going to see this car right up here. So if they don't have trading paints, they're going to see whatever it was that you chose when you custom painted your car through the iRacing interface. Let's go ahead and hit a test session. You can see that the stripe on the front of my hot rod here has shown up. I'm going to go ahead and run a couple of laps so we can take a look. I'm going to shift through here pretty quick. I don't really care about running too fast. We'll just run a couple of quick laps so we can take a look at the paint scheme. This is USA International, pretty good racetrack. Kind of boring for the Legends cars with only 13 or 14 cars on the track. There's not a whole lot of action. It's a big track with a lot of room. The good thing is you don't get in a lot of accidents here. You don't crash much because there's so much space. We're going to run maybe one more lap here. This is going to be the end of the lap. Ooh, got a little loose. Did you feel that? My goodness. We'll run one more lap here and then we'll call that good.
24.544.
Down into turn number 1 through the middle of 1 and 2. Now roll back into the throttle. Feels like I've got a pretty good car here. That car in front of me, that's a great lap. I ran down almost to 23, almost under 23.5. 5.12 is about the best lap I've ever run here. So.
24.143.
So as you can see, this is the Sinclair car that I uploaded before. We'll go ahead and back up to the beginning. And we can take a look at the Sinclair car. We're going to change camera angles so we get a little better look at it. We'll go to TV number, let's go to TV 4. I kind of like TV 4 here. So you can see kind of what this car looks like now on the racetrack. That's the Sinclair car that we put together. and it shows up pretty good. So anytime you want to run a custom paint scheme, really all you need to do is go to Trading Paints, look for the ones that don't require the Pro designation. If they don't require the Pro designation, you can run them with a free account. If they do require the Pro designation, you're going to have to pay the $20 to get the annual subscription to Trading Paints. For me, it's worth it. I like creating these things, and I like them because I've got a relatively stressful job, and when I find job stress is getting to be an issue, I go paint a stock car. For the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.